You've got us to catch soon. Ladies and gentlemen. So here we are, about to start this evening's entertainment. It gives me absolute great pleasure to introduce our very, very own Jonnie Corbett.
Thank you. Right, good evening everyone. It's I'd like to say it's wonderful to be back here at Studland's very own Harvest Festival. I'm cracking myself at the moment, but I don't know why I do it. I don't know why I do it. But anyway, we're going to love it. We're going to love it. Okay. Anyway, before I start, just a quick message to the person that stole my Prozac from my coat pocket in the old Harry bar last night. So whoever it is, I hope you're happy. Sorry. So you'll understand if I'm a little bit distracted. I know I've got problems with my pets as well. My cat is just recovering from a massive stroke. Yeah. Hasn't stopped purring for 3 days now. And my dog, it started chasing anyone on a bike. Don't understand it. Got so bad, we've had to take the bike away. Seriously. It was like a vicious cycle, honestly. So I enjoy it. Now, tonight, I plan to tell you the joke about the moth who went to a podiatrist. Unless, of course, I can think of a better joke beforehand. But, and of course, this joke, like all my jokes, they're all based on real life. Okay? So, some of it from my childhood, because there's plenty of material there. Because I had quite a difficult childhood, actually. Yeah. I can remember my father saying to me, he said, son, I want to know that you were adopted. I said, Dad, seriously? He said, yes, son, I'm not kidding. Get your stuff together, they're coming to pick you up in an hour. So you can understand why I'm like I am, can't you? So anyway, it's wonderful to be back in the parish hall, village hall, whatever it is, with all you lovely people. Now, has anyone actually tried using the village hall booking system online? I tried using it. I had absolutely no idea quite how difficult it is. It's like you need a sort of degree in computer science and a spare afternoon just to work out how to do it. And I ended up accidentally booking myself on an escapology course. And now I'm struggling to get out of it. And then I managed to book myself on a one-day intensive semaphore course. After 6 hours, I was flagging. But then I joined the Studland Gardening Society. And what a lovely bunch of people. Yeah, if that's a collective noun for gardeners. And I went along and saw a very interesting presentation on growing organic vegetables. And about halfway through the talk, a man suddenly, in the audience, he suddenly shouted out, broccoli! That's a bit weird. And then a few minutes later, shouted out, cauliflower! Turns out he's got florets. Anyway, so I'm thinking about joining the yoga class at the village hall, because quite frankly, at my age, things tend to seize up, and I'm putting on a little bit of weight at the moment as well. So anyway, I saw the yoga teacher, and she said, how flexible are you? I said, well, tell you the truth, I can't do Wednesday mornings. So yeah, I have started putting on weight again, and but it's okay, it's not a problem, because I identify as a thin person. I'm actually trans-slender. Oh, dear me. So, where I find these, God only knows. Anyway, I went along to the doctor's for a health check, and he told me my blood pressure was fine, cholesterol was okay, but I am borderline obese. I said, borderline obese? I can't believe it. I said, yeah, I really want a second opinion. He said, well, be quite frankly, you're ugly too. And he said, do you do any sport? I said, well, does sex count? He said, yeah. Well, in that case, no. Oh, dear. Right, okay, ready to go on. So I had to go to the dentist for a filling, and actually go to a Buddhist dentist. And well, he doesn't use any pain-killing injections. Really, honestly. He likes to transcend dental medication. Ooh. Anyway, I'm laid back on the chair, mouth wide open, and I've got all these tools in it. And he said, this will hurt a little bit. I said, okay. I was like there, braced myself. He said, I'm having an affair with your wife. I said, well, to be honest, my wife and I, we've had a few problems recently. Ever since she asked me to pass her lip balm, and I gave her a glue stick by accident. And she's still not talking to me. Oh dear, the only bit of good news I had was getting another letter from a debt collector, but this one said final notice. Thank goodness he won't be bothering me anymore. Oh dear. So now, Tony the vicar, he always likes to give me a little bit of advice on my performance, and this year he gave me an invaluable tip. He said, Jonnie darling, because he's a bit of a lovey, you haven't noticed, you know, once he's on the stage. He said, John darling, he said, jokes about white sugar are rare. Jokes about brown sugar, dem are rarer. Thanks, Tony, for that one. Anyway, so, planning to tell you the joke about the moth and the podiatrist. We'll probably take a little bit of treble off the mic, actually. That's not a joke. Anyway, I plan to tell you a story about the moth who went to the podiatrist, as moths do. Now, this story is, as I said, it is actually based on real life, which is how I get most of my material. When I say real life, it was actually told to me by the taxi driver on the way here. And seriously, you know, the village hall actually laid me on a taxi to get here, which I thought was brilliant. Great taxi driver. He'd always take you that extra mile, you know, whether you needed it or not. Yeah. And we ended up going past Manor Farm and saw Steve the farmer outside, and he asked me if I could round up 8 cows. Quick as a flash, I said to him, of course, Steve, that's 10 cows. Oh dear. And of course, the big news in Studland at the moment, the last couple of weeks, has been the helicopter crashing in Steve's field. And they soon realised that they had to have 24-hour armed guards protecting it after helicopter parts were discovered in a local skip containing fridges. Yeah. And there was talk about somebody seeing a ferry drive shaft in there as well. That's yet to be confirmed. Oh, excuse me. Anyway, back to the real life story about the moth who goes to podiatrist surgery, as they do. So the moth goes to podiatrist surgery, and the podiatrist says, what's the problem, moth? And the moth goes, what's the problem? What's the problem? I don't know where to begin. He said, I go to work 6 days a week, and all day long I work, and honestly, Doc, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I don't even think my boss knows what I'm doing. And my boss has got power and control over me, and that seems to bring him some sort of pleasure. But honestly, Doc, I'm losing it. At night, I sometimes wake up and I turn to the woman next to me, the woman who I barely recognise, the woman I once loved. I've spent 30 years with, and I don't know who to turn to. And the podiatrist said, "Oh, that's terrible, Moth." I said, "Yeah, and my daughter doesn't love me. She looks at me with disdain, and she can hardly bring herself to look at me. She hardly speaks to me, and Doc, it really hurts, it really hurts." And then there's my son. And this is the hardest pill to swallow. My son, I no longer love him. He was truly diabolical. Will you shut up? I had everyone there. Yeah. Anyway, my son, I no longer love him. As much as it pains me to say, I look into his eyes and I just see cowardice. I see the same cowardice that I see in my own face when I glance at myself in the mirror. And sometimes, Doc, all I want to do is end this hellish facade once and for all. And Doc, even though I'm a moth, sometimes I feel like a spider clinging, barely hanging onto my web, with an everlasting flame burning beneath me in eternal torment. Yeah, I'm not feeling good, Doc, honestly, I'm really not. And the podiatrist said to moths, "Oh my God, you're in trouble. But I'm not sure if I can help you. I think you really need a psychiatrist. Why on earth did you come here?" And the moth says, "Because the light was on." So, that's good night from me, and it's good night from him. Thank you very much indeed.